We'll start with psychology of emotion regulation, where we will cover the theories of emotions, James Lang, Cannonball, and Stacker Singer. We will cover. We will cover the regulation strategies, reappraisal, and suppression. We'll try to understand the role of emotion regulation in mental health and the interventions for emotion dysregulation. So, before starting the session, I would like to know from you the point of view. Imagine two people receiving the exact same message from their manager. Okay, because remember, today we are not just learning about emotions because we know the psychology of emotions, we know the theories. We are learning to see emotions the way a psychologist sees them. So just imagine tomorrow morning, two employees open their phone and see a message from the manager. Can we meet tomorrow morning? We need to talk. Okay, nothing else. No emoji, no explanation, no context. What was the very thought that entered your mind if you were one of the employee? What would come to your mind? New serious talk. Okay. So some of you thought, oh no, what did I do wrong? Some of you thought that maybe it's a new project lead. Okay. Increment without a promotion. Okay. Nice, positive. Some of you thought that, it was fearful, right? So that whether we are receiving anything wrong or anything can be happening, right? Now here's the fascinating question. Did the message which is shown in the in the blue box, did the message contain fear, anxiety, or did the message contain happiness? The message contained information, right? Not emotion, right? The emotion was created inside the person receiving it, right? And this is one of the biggest misconceptions people have about emotions. People often say, he made me angry, she made me sad, my boss stresses me out. But psychology tells us something really profound. Look, I'll show you. Okay. So one person cannot sleep the entire night. The second person smiles and thinks, maybe I'm getting promoted. Okay. So just think, like, psychology is far more profound. Events don't directly create emotions. The way our brain is interpreting the events, that interpretation combines with our memories, beliefs, bodily sensations, personality, past experiences, and the entire system creates the emotional experience. This realization is incredibly empowering because it means what while we cannot always control what happens to us or even which emotion appears first, we can learn to influence how emotions unfold and how we respond to them. This process is called emotion regulation, which we will learn today. Emotion regulation is not about suppressing emotions or pretending to be positive all the time. It is about developing the ability to understand emotions, work with them, and respond intentionally rather than reacting impulsively. And research consistently shows that this skill predicts better mental health, stronger relationships, better leadership, better resilience, better academic and professional performance, better overall well being. So, before we learn how to regulate emotions, we will answer a very simple topic first, that what is emotion? Most people think emotions are simply feelings, happiness, sadness, fear. But psychologists know emotions are much more sophisticated than that. And emotion is a multidimensional system designed by evolution to help us survive. Okay. A widely accepted definition of emotion is an emotion is a coordinated psychological, physiological, cognitive, behavioral, motivational response. Okay. I'm speaking like Chatur, but I'm not. Okay. I'll tell you in Asan Bhasha. Okay. Now, emotion is psychological, what is inside our thought, physiological, what is bodily there, what we are thinking, cognitive, how we are reacting, behavioral, and how or what we need out of that emotion, that is motivational. What motivates us to react in that way? Okay. And obviously, the relationship we have with the person, correct? Right? That prepares an individual for adaptive action, right? For adaptive action. Emotion is a strategy. Notice the word coordinated and adaptive. Emotion is not one thing. It is an entire orchestra playing together. Think of an orchestra. If only violin plays, you don't hear a symphony, right? Similarly, an emotion is created when multiple systems work together simultaneously, right? The systems are physiological. The physiological component, your body speaks before your mind, right? Imagine you're walking, you're a woman, you're walking alone at night, and you see some shadows, you hear some footsteps. Won't you be scared seeing the rates of sexual assaults increasing in India? You will, right? A woman is scared to walk alone at night until and unless the woman is a black belt. Even then, the woman is scared, right? So that fear, that protection, that survival instinct hits, and you are anxious, right? So that's how physiologically we react, right? You palpitate, your blood pressure rises, your heart races, right? Your muscle tensions, right? So that is how you react. Your body reacts, the physiological reaction. Cognitive component, okay. What meaning you create out of that? Okay, same event. Yeah, same event. Someone is right behind you. It's 11 p.m. and you're out in a city. Okay, you will always be in alert, seeing the crime rates increasing. Okay. Now, what if that's a golden retriever in behind and you're not scared of dogs? You don't have dog phobia. So you will be happy, right? That, oh, this is a cute dog. Oh, it's a Pomeranian. It's a cute dog, right? But if you see a man with a bottle of alcohol or something, you will be scared. So what meaning you are creating? Even if it's a dog, even if it's a golden retriever, right? Some of you will be really happy that, oh, it's a golden retriever, and some of you will like, oh, it will bite me. So what meaning you are creating out of that situation? The cognitive component that creates the emotion. Okay. Now the emotional component itself, right? So imagine two people both experiencing anxiety. One says, I feel butterflies in my stomach. Another says, I feel like my chest is being crushed. So emotion is subjective. Remember that. Okay. It's subjective. You cannot, for example, the way I uh, experience emotions, Sukanya might not. The way I experience emotion, maybe Selena might not. The way I experience emotion, maybe Pragya might not, Rajvi might not, right? We might differ the way we experience a similar emotion. Okay. Am I clear? Yeah. Now coming to behavioral component, just like emotions, the behavioral component is also different. The way you react. Okay. For example, I'll give you an example, just the session I was having before this session. Okay. So I was having an introductory class, which I have every Sunday. So we were having that, and we were talking about, I was asking the students about the point of view of the protests going on currently. Okay. And few of them were like, yes, it is correct. It is this, it is that. And few of them were like, हमारे घर के बच्चे कभी नहीं जाएंगे protest करने. Okay. But little did they realize that it is about the whole student community. Even right now, you all are students, right? So, but now one person reacted, like, in the session only, was like, ये धर्म की बातें कहीं और, ठीक है? And few of them reacted like, ma'am, please understand. Like, this is about every student at a go, right? You are also a student right now. So one of them were like, very on the point, like, okay. Another one was like, regulating the whole thing, right? So the way you behave towards a certain situation, right, towards a certain way, right, that is the behavioral component. Okay, the response. Even silence is a response. Let's say, I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say you are seeing something wrong happening right in front of you. You choose to stay silent. Isn't that a behavior? Won't you regret later that why was I silent? Remember yourself. I don't know how many of you were in the protest, or how many of you were in the nationwide cause. When it was few years back, it was the RG Kaur medical case. The doctor was being, gang raped and murdered in Kolkata. How many of you have raised your voice on the streets of India? I really don't know, but I have. Okay. How many of you stood up? I was a kid when the Nirbhaya case happened. Okay. How many of you stood up against that? At that point of time, let's say, for example, I'm not saying or pinpointing. For example, because of family traditions or family rules, let's say you were not able to speak. Few of you might think that it's okay now, ek आवाज से क्या ही हो जाएगा, and you will be like okay with it. But few of you might also feel guilty, right? So emotion is subjective, and the way you react after that is also subjective. Even if you are staying silent, that is also a response. That is also bringing out emotions in front of you. Okay, yeah. Now, behavioral component is clear. Now coming to the motivational component. Many people classify emotions as good or bad. Psychologist prefers a different question. What is this emotion trying to accomplish? Okay. Every emotion serves an adaptive purpose. Do you know that? Every emotion. Fear, protection from danger. Anger, defend boundaries, restore justice. What they are doing there is anger. Okay. Sadness, you're seeking support, you're encouraging reflection. Disgust, protect from the corruption, the contamination in the society. Love, you are attached with those 21 lives which are lost due to the educational lapses. Guilt, that why didn't we take stand before? Why do we have to lose 20 lives of 21 students? Pride, that at least the nation awakens. Shame, that maybe somewhere we are, I don't know how many of you will be able to go. I don't know how many of you will be able to raise your voice in whatever ways you can, right? And how many of you actually want to, right? But let's say, like the way that person said that, हमारे घर के बच्चे कभी नहीं जाएंगे. So that's shame, like, risk of social rejection. Here, what if our kid? So, I don't know whether it is a correct platform to say or not, but I'm a very rebel person by nature. Okay, I'm a very rebel person by nature. So I was being told by my parents that, जा कर रहे हो, जो कर रहे हो जाओ, जिस भी यूनिवर्सिटी में जा रही हो जाओ, but don't protest. And I was like, if my parents see me on camera, it is going to be very risky. But then I realized that it's okay, it's fine, I'll explain them. Okay, most of the time I was away from the camera, right? Because it's scary, because in protest people do focus cameras, and when your family is against you going like doing all those things, like at least they are fearful. They are also parents, they are fearful, right? That what if something happens to our child, right? So at that point of time, I just had to ensure that I'm away from the camera. Nowhere I am to be covered in media. Okay, so that's something, right? So all of these are emotions which come up. I gave you just an example. Okay, I'm not saying whatever is happening is right or wrong. I am not going to comment on that. This is not, I won't debate here, but I'm just sharing an experience. I hope that is clear to everyone. Moving forward, yes, exactly, it's the choices we make, right? Now moving forward, I would like to explain, why do humans have emotions? Why do you think humans have emotions? Without emotions, do you think that like, okay, I'll tell you. Few of my friends, few of my colleagues tell me that, yeah, Shreosi, you have to be rational. You have to be rational. Even my clients tell me that, ma'am, I have to be rational. I'm like, okay, but will you be able to leave aside all the emotions you have? Are you a robot? Neuroscience actually suggests the opposite. One of the most influential neuroscientists, okay, Antonio Damasio, studied patients with damage to areas of the brain involved in emotional processing, particularly the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. Okay, these individuals often had normal IQ, excellent memory, intact language, logical reasoning, yet they struggled to make even simple everyday decisions. For example, choosing a restaurant, scheduling appointments, managing finances, managing relationships. Why? Because while they could think logically, they could no longer feel the emotional significance of their choices. Damasio proposed the somatic marker hypothesis, which suggested that bodily based emotional signals, that is what you feel in your body in emotion wise, help guide you making decisions. For example, I'll tell you, let's say, okay, parents, don't judge me, okay? If I lie to my parents, okay, to go out for a trip with my friends, okay, if I make that decision and I make the decision suddenly, okay, without any emotional component, I go, and let's say I get stuck in flood आ रहे हैं, I get stuck in flood, ठीक है, but I'm not feeling anything because मेरा तो emotions काम ही नहीं कर रहा ना. But if I have had this emotional things, okay, emotional feelings, I would analyze the situation from an emotional point of view: guilt, fear, sadness. Guilt that, yeah, why I'm lying to my parents, what if something happens and they don't even know about it. Fear that, what if I get stuck and I am lost somewhere. Sadness, there can be any emotions, but that will help me to make a rational decision or a reasonable decision, right? So your emotional responses is not enemy of reason. Your emotion is an essential partner of reason. The healthiest decision arise not from emotion alone or logic alone, but from the integration of both. Now that we understand what emotions are and why they exist, psychologists have asked one of the most fascinating questions in the history of the field. How exactly does an emotions arise? Does your body react first, or does your brain react first, or does your, you know, both react, brain and body react simultaneously? And these questions were answered by few theorists, which I'm going to cover. Okay. James Lang theory, Cannon-Bird theory, Scatter-Singer two-factor theory. Okay. Are you all ready? Yeah. First theory. Okay. This theory tells us that there is an event, our brain understands it, we have bodily reactions, we have behavioral change, and we understand what the emotion is. I'll give you an example. Dog is barking, we have a physiological response, our heart rate increases, we label it as fear. Am I able to get to you? Yeah, this is James Lang theory. First ever theory of emotion. Okay. Fearful stimulus felt in the body, labeled it as what emotion it is. Clear? Everyone? Great. Now that theory evolved. That said, this theory was this, James Lang. It evolved in the Cannon-Bird interpretation. He said both happen simultaneously, the physiological response and the emotional response. That is, let's say the dog is barking, your heart rate will increase and you will label it as fear. Okay. So, for example, sight of oncoming car, incoming car, theory here, okay, in front of us, we get scared. Okay, we get scared and we face the bodily reaction at the same point of time. Am I able to reach out to you? Yeah, we face it at the same point of time. Okay, it is not like that we are facing it at different times. ठीक है, दोनों एक साथ हो रहा है. Okay. Now, coming to the evolving of this theory also, which says that when a person faces a situation, they have bodily reaction and they have mind labeling. Mind labeling leads to the label of the emotion, and the bodily reaction tells us in which intensity we are feeling the emotions. Am I able to reach out to you? For example, if let's say the car is coming, okay, you're facing, you're labeling it as emotion of fear, okay, the intensity to which your heart rate increases. Am I clear? Okay. You have a question chat box. Sorry, in the question answer forum. You lose my audios at time. Is it still happening? Okay. Now is it clear? Can you reply in the chat box, please, whether it is clear or not? Okay. Okay, I'll explain the status singer theory once more. Yeah. Status singer theory tells that the intensity Okay, the intensity to which you are facing the physiological reactions. When you are having a emotional reaction, there are physiological reactions in your body. The intensity to which the physiological reactions happen, that determines your physiological intensity of that emotion. For example, my heart rate is 100. That means I am moderately angry. My heart rate increases to 130. I am extremely angry. The degree of emotions changes. Am I clear now? We are moving to emotional regulations, everyone. The goal of emotion regulation or emotional maturity is not to become emotionless. It is to become emotionally skillful. Okay. Let me begin with a simple story. Imagine two people driving to work. Both leave home at exactly the same time. Okay. Both take the same route. Both get stuck in the same traffic jam. Nothing is moving. They have already been waiting for 20 minutes. Now look inside the first car. The driver is gripping the steering wheel tightly. He keeps checking the clock every 30 seconds. His breathing becomes faster. His thoughts spiral. This always, and she says to himself, this always happens to me. My boss is going to think I'm irresponsible. Today is ruined. By the time he reaches his work, he's already emotionally exhausted. Now look at the second car. The driver sighs, looks around, and realizes, well, I can't move the traffic. She turns on a podcast she has been meaning to listen to. She calls her office using a hands free mode and informs them that I will be late. She takes a few deep breaths. She arrives late too, but emotionally she's calm. Now, here is the most important question. Who had the easier day? Neither. Who had better luck? Neither. The external reality was identical. The difference was in how each person regulated their emotional experience. And this is where one of the greatest misconceptions about emotions begin. Uh-huh.
So, how do we understand which one to apply or which one is different from other one?
As I said, that I'll provide you a summary table
Mhm.
of all the therapies. Also, for last session also, I have sent a book of Stoffer. It has been uploaded in the IPA. Have you got it?
I am checking.
Can you? I have checked. It is showing me that it is uploaded,
Okay.
right? So kindly check once. If you open the the book, you will be able to see that there are multiple uh, therapy, all the therapy strategies which I have taught. It's there, and there will be a section of emotional dysregulation which you can study. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Is it the physical reaction? Is it the physical reaction, or it's both way around? I said that already. Bharat, I've already answered that question. Maybe that time the network was a little fudgy. I've already answered. No, it is not considered as inferiority complex. Okay, then I will provide the summary table for all the therapy techniques, and I hope you will be able to understand it better. Yeah. Please take care and see you next Sunday. Yeah. Bye bye. All the best. Yes. Bye bye. Take care.